The Ricky Nelson Mystery, Finally Solved and Isn't Good. Ricky Nelson, born Eric Hilliard. Nelson, on May 8, 1940, in Teaneck, New Jersey, was a beloved American singer, actor, and teen idol. He rose to fame as a child star on his family's hit TV show, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, but quickly proved he was more than just a TV personality. In 1957, he launched his music career with the hit I'm Walkin' and went on to release classics like Hello, Mary Lou, Poor Little Fool, and Travelin' Man. His smooth voice and crossover sound made him one of the pioneers of early rock and roll. Though his popularity declined in the 1970s, he remained active in music until his tragic death in a plane crash on December 31st, 1985, at age 45. Today, Ricky Nelson is remembered as a trailblazer who left a lasting mark on American pop culture and music. From TV kid to rock star, the legendary beginning of Ricky Nelson. Ricky Nelson's entry into the music world was unexpected, yet groundbreaking. In 1957, already a well-known teen actor from The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, Ricky recorded a song not for fame, but to impress a girl. That track, I'm Walkin', quickly became a hit and unintentionally launched one of the earliest and most influential careers in rock and roll history. Nelson's music blended rockabilly, country, and pop into a smooth, radio-friendly sound that struck a chord with America's post-war youth. His boy-next-door charm, clean-cut looks, and weekly presence on national television helped make him one of the very first teen idols. But beneath the fame was a serious musician. Ricky wasn't just a singer. He played guitar, cared deeply about songcraft, and took pride in shaping his musical identity. By the early 1960s, he had more than 30 top 40 hits under his belt, including Poor Little Fool, which made history as the very first #1 song on Billboard's newly formed Hot 100 chart. Yet, as musical tastes shifted by the late 60s, his chart success waned. Still, Nelson never stopped evolving. He leaned into a more mature sound, pioneering the genre of country rock and paving the way for future artists like the Eagles. While no longer topping the charts, he gained respect among his peers for staying authentic and true to his roots. His legacy isn't just about early fame. It's about lasting integrity and influence in American music. The immortal melodies that made Ricky Nelson legendary. Ricky Nelson's musical legacy is built on a string of timeless hits that helped define the sound of early rock and roll. One of his first major successes was Poor Little Fool, 1958, which became the first ever #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The track showcased Nelson's smooth voice and ability to blend pop with rockabilly influences. Another standout hit was Hello, Mary Lou, 1961, a catchy, upbeat tune that remains one of his most recognizable songs. Its lively guitar riffs and romantic lyrics made it a favorite among fans and a staple of oldies radio. Travelin' Man, 1961, was another major hit, praised for its melodic storytelling about a man in love with women across the globe. It became a chart topper and highlighted Nelson's knack for light-hearted, radio-friendly songs. These tracks, along with others like It's Late and Lonesome Town, helped cement Ricky Nelson's status as one of the most important early figures in rock and pop music. His songs continue to be celebrated for their charm, simplicity, and heartfelt emotion. The musical revolution, when rock meets country. As the musical landscape shifted in the late 1960s, Ricky Nelson found himself at a crossroads. Once a teen idol dominating the pop and rock charts, he was now viewed by many as part of a fading era. But Nelson was not content with nostalgia. Rather than clinging to his early fame, he embraced evolution and reinvented himself through country rock. In 1969, Nelson formed the Stone Canyon Band, signaling a bold departure from his rockabilly roots. This new group blended the twang of country with the rhythm of rock, aligning Nelson with the emerging country rock movement pioneered by artists like the Eagles and Poco. Their live album, In Concert at the Troubadour, introduced fans to a more mature, reflective Ricky Nelson, a singer-songwriter in full control of his voice and vision. His 1972 hit, Garden Party, became the defining statement of this new chapter. Written after being booed at a Madison Square Garden concert for playing new material, the song told a powerful story of artistic integrity. You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself. It resonated with fans and critics alike, earning him renewed respect in the music industry. Though country rock never brought him the same commercial success as his earlier pop career, it allowed Ricky Nelson to grow artistically and maintain authenticity. His willingness to evolve, even at the risk of alienating old fans, showed that he was not just a former teen idol, but a serious musician committed to his craft. In doing so, Nelson left an enduring mark on the country rock genre and inspired future artists to follow their own creative truth. When Ricky Nelson reached the peak of music, at the peak of his musical career, Ricky Nelson was more than just a teen idol. He was a force that helped shape the very foundation of American rock and roll. From the late 1950s through the early 1960s, Nelson dominated the charts with a string of hits that blended rockabilly, pop, and country in a way that felt both innovative and timeless. His smooth voice and natural stage presence turned songs like Poor Little Fool, Travelin' Man, and Hello, Mary Lou into instant classics, earning him millions of fans and critical acclaim. By the age of 21, he had already sold over 35 million records, a feat that placed him in the same league as Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly. His appearances on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet not only promoted his music to a national audience, but also made him one of television's first crossover music stars. In the 1970s, when the shine of early rock began to fade, Nelson boldly reinvented himself with the release of Garden Party, a deeply personal song about rejection and resilience. The track became a surprise hit, proving that his relevance didn't rely on nostalgia, but on honesty and artistry. His induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987, though posthumous, cemented his place in music history. Ricky Nelson wasn't just a singer, he was a pioneer who dared to evolve, and in doing so, left behind a musical legacy that continues to echo across generations, the parallel journey between music and acting. Before he became a rock and roll sensation, Ricky Nelson was already a familiar face on American television. His foray into acting began in childhood, when he starred alongside his real-life family in the hit sitcom The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Airing from 1952 to 1966, the show offered viewers a wholesome portrayal of American family life, and Ricky quickly became a fan favorite with his natural charm and boy-next-door demeanor. What began as a family project soon turned into a platform for Ricky to showcase not only his acting skills, but also his emerging musical talent. Producers saw potential in integrating his songs into episodes, a move that would forever change the landscape of TV and music marketing. With each appearance, Ricky gained more exposure, and by performing songs during the show, he essentially created one of the first modern multimedia crossovers, a teenage heartthrob who could both act and sing. Despite being born into the spotlight, Ricky didn't rely solely on his family's fame. He took acting seriously, later branching out into dramatic roles in films such as Rio Bravo, 1959, where he starred alongside legends like John Wayne and Dean Martin. That role solidified him as more than just a TV personality. He was a credible Hollywood actor in his own right. Love, marriage, and the quiet notes in Ricky Nelson's life. While Ricky Nelson thrived in the public eye as a performer, his personal life was more complex. In 1963, he married Kristen Harmon, a painter and actress, and the daughter of football legend Tom Harmon and actress Elise Knox. The two were considered a golden couple of Hollywood, young, talented, and deeply in love. Together, they had 4 children, including Tracy Nelson, who later became a successful actress, and twin sons Gunnar and Matthew, who would form the chart-topping rock duo Nelson in the 1990s. Despite their glamorous beginnings, Ricky and Kristen's marriage faced intense strain from the pressures of fame, financial challenges, and personal struggles. The couple eventually divorced in 1982 after years of separation and public disputes. Though the relationship ended, Ricky remained a devoted father. He was proud of his children's talents and remained close to them throughout his life. His family life, like his music, was filled with both soaring highs and painful lows, a reflection of a man who lived passionately and felt deeply. Ricky Nelson's shocking death, accident or something else? Even decades after his untimely death, the tragic end of Ricky Nelson's life remains shrouded in unsettling mystery. Officially, the investigation concluded that a malfunctioning cabin heater aboard the vintage Douglas DC-3 aircraft triggered an in-flight fire on December 31, 1985, a blaze that ultimately brought the plane down in DeKalb, Texas, and claimed the lives of Nelson, his fiancée, Helen Blair, and 5 members of his band. The pilot survived, but everyone in the cabin was killed. For many, however, that explanation has always seemed too simplistic, raising more questions than it answered. Eyewitness accounts and statements from the 2 surviving crew members added eerie and painful layers to the tragedy. According to reports, thick smoke rapidly filled the cabin, giving passengers little time to react, yet the cockpit remained relatively unaffected, and the pilots managed to land the plane. Why were they able to escape when none of the passengers could? Why wasn't there more evidence of a fire engulfing the aircraft's fuselage from the outside? The mystery only deepened when Helen Blair, a prominent figure in Nelson's life, was buried in an unmarked grave. A curious detail that left fans and family members deeply unsettled. Compounding the confusion was a wave of drug-related speculation that surfaced almost immediately after the crash. Despite toxicology reports confirming there were no drugs in Ricky Nelson's system, rumors of freebasing and substance abuse were spread by various media outlets. These claims were later dismissed as false, but their impact lingered. Many believe these rumors were intentionally floated to shift attention away from potential mechanical negligence or lapses in maintenance. Some conspiracy theories even hinted at sabotage, secret debts, or darker motives, wild theories that were never proven but that captured the public's imagination and fed a persistent narrative of foul play. The most painful consequence of this lingering mystery is how it temporarily eclipsed Ricky Nelson's musical legacy. For years, sensational headlines focused more on the crash and speculation than on the groundbreaking work he had done to shape the sound of American rock and roll. It wasn't until his twin sons, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson, successful musicians in their own right, began publicly defending their father's memory that the narrative began to change. Through interviews, tributes, and live performances of Ricky's songs, they helped shift the spotlight back to where it belonged, on his voice, his artistry, and his impact. Today, Ricky Nelson is remembered as a pioneer, a performer who bridged the worlds of television and music with effortless grace. But the circumstances surrounding his death remain one of the most chilling and unresolved tragedies in music history. It's a stark reminder that even the most beloved stars can be taken too soon. And sometimes, the final chapter of a life leaves behind unanswered questions that echo louder than applause. What truly transpired on the night of December 31st, 1985, may never be fully known. But as the years passed, what surfaced after Ricky Nelson's tragic death shocked even his most loyal fans. What had initially been dismissed as an unfortunate accident caused by a faulty cabin heater was gradually revealed to be something far more unsettling, a convergence of warnings ignored, responsibilities neglected, and human lives undervalued. The aircraft Ricky was flying in that night, a vintage Douglas DC-3, had a troubling history. Former pilots who had operated the same plane came forward, revealing that the cabin heater had malfunctioned on multiple occasions before. These weren't isolated glitches. The heater had allegedly filled the cabin with smoke more than once. These malfunctions weren't just warnings. They were blaring alarms. Still, flights continued. Despite the clear danger, the plane remained in service, pushed forward by profit and performance demands. Later investigations uncovered maintenance records that were incomplete, unclear, and possibly even falsified, an appalling revelation suggesting someone may have deliberately tried to hide mechanical issues to keep the aircraft operational. Ricky Nelson expressed unease about the aircraft, but faced pressure to perform. His fiancée, Helen Blair, was not on the flight manifest, raising troubling questions about her identification and burial. Nelson's death, a result of preventable decisions, highlights systemic failures that prioritized costs over human life and safety. Ricky Nelson, a timeless musical legacy. Ricky Nelson's legacy is much more than hit records or reruns of old TV shows. It's the story of a man who lived for music and stayed true to himself, even when fame faded. Starting out as a teen idol on the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Ricky could have coasted on nostalgia, but instead of chasing trends, he evolved, becoming a pioneer of country rock in the 1970s. At a time when many of his peers were fading, Ricky embraced change. He poured his truth into Garden Party, a song inspired by being booed for not playing his old hits. The lyrics were honest and defiant, a message to fans and critics alike. He wasn't going to be trapped by the past. That track became his final major hit and a declaration of artistic integrity. What keeps Ricky Nelson's name alive today is that unwavering authenticity. He proved that real artistry isn't about staying popular. It's about staying honest. His twin sons, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson, carry that spirit forward. And with his place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Ricky is remembered not just for talent, but for courage, the courage to be himself. Expensive lessons behind the glory. Ricky Nelson's story is not just about fame, success, or tragedy. It's about authenticity and the price and reward of staying true to who you are. In an industry built on image and trends, Ricky dared to evolve beyond the mold of teen idol. He refused to cling to outdated fame, choosing instead to grow as an artist, even when it meant facing rejection. The most powerful lesson from his life is this: reinvention takes courage, and authenticity is often misunderstood. His iconic song, Garden Party, wasn't just music. It was a message. You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself. That one lyric has become a life mantra for many who struggle with public opinion, family expectations, or self-doubt. His personal struggles, failed relationships, addiction, and the fight for artistic respect remind us that even those who shine brightest can feel lost inside. But Ricky never stopped seeking meaning. He never stopped singing his truth. In the end, Ricky Nelson teaches us that it's better to be rejected for who you are than loved for who you are not. His journey is a reminder that the pursuit of authenticity, no matter how painful, is the most meaningful path of all.